Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good rest of your week in trading. It was a wild, wild day for NVAX today. Tough on the old blood pressure, but it was ended up okay after all. We're going to talk about what happened today with NVAX. It's just a wild day. Talk about our portfolio as far as what's going on with that. We do have some movement in Bitcoin, so that's helping a couple of our stocks today. We'll take a look at those as well. And appreciate the subscribers. Anybody that subscribed, appreciate that. Don't forget to like the video. If you like the videos, click that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button down in the corner there. And join us and enjoy the videos. Click the notification bell. But let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at the portfolio. As you can see, the market had a really good day today. As far as all three markets go, we're green across the board here, especially the Dow. The Dow was up 482 points. NASDAQ climbed up towards the end of the day up to 118, and the S&P was up 49.50. And you can see we had a couple that were green here today. But let's start out talking about NVAX and Moderna. I want to show you Moderna and NVAX together. We don't own any Moderna, but I keep an eye on that one during the week as NVAX is watched too. And you can see both of them got hit pretty hard today. And the reason being is that Merck came out with a pill you see here that slams Moderna shares and shakes up the healthcare sector. And of course, it slammed our stock as well. This is really nothing compared to where we were at, but it was a tough day this morning. It opened up and just really dropped like a rock on that news. And so, we're pretty heavy in NVAX. So one of the things I decided to do is once it looked like it had settled just a little bit, and actually had run up a little bit, and then it started coming back down. And my thought process was it was going to try to ease back up before the day was over with. That's kind of how it worked out. So we bought as it started dropping after it had pulled up and started pulling back down. We bought some more. But the whole game plan was to whatever we bought, number of shares that we bought, we were going to sell that number of shares before the day was over with. Of course, when we sold those shares, those are old shares that we're selling that we bought the beginning of last month, the beginning of September. And so they're really high price shares. So we took a pretty good loss on those shares today. But overall, we did pretty good because we ended up buying pretty cheap shares to swap out for them. And that's going to help our cost average that's gotten beat up so bad today. But we're keeping the same number of shares. And so that was kind of my game plan. Go ahead and take a little loss, see if we can't make it up. This is the first day of the month. We had a pretty good month last month pocketing money. So, and we've had, pretty good months every month just about pocketing money. And so we're just going to try to start out a little bit on the downside this month and see if we can't work our way back. NVAX will probably be fine once it gets these approvals, but today was a rough day. There's no doubt about it. So we'll take a little bit more detailed look at that in just a minute and talk about that a little bit more. Let's go back to our portfolio here and take a look at Bitcoin. You see here, Bitcoin was up, and it's up good today. You can see the for over 4,000, over 10%, 47.9. It actually hit 48 today. Let's go ahead and pull that chart up. It hit 48 today, and that's a good level. We'd love to see that get into the 50s, and we may actually be on a good tear if it does that. But here it is. It got up to today, let's see, 48.42. So our crypto's looking pretty good right now with what I'm holding. But the reason we've got this on here, as usual, you can see it's still moving. It stays open during after hours. But the reason we keep up with this is because we have a couple stocks that are what I call Bitcoin proxies. MSTR, which is MicroStrategies, they hold a ton of Bitcoin. I mean a ton, billions of dollars worth. And so we buy this because we can't buy Bitcoin in our IRAs. And so this is one way of kind of playing Bitcoin as well as HUT. And you can see those were the two green ones we had today. So let's take a look at that. MSTR, Let's pull that up, and let's go ahead and look at that 5-day chart on it. Did have a pretty decent 5 days. Of course, you had a 3-day period there where it dropped, it stayed down there, and it came back on Friday. Bitcoin is very volatile, so it makes these pretty volatile as well. But you can see here the volumes, normal volume. This doesn't trade a whole lot, but it is and it's usually, it's not even over 1 million shares a day, which is normally something I don't usually fool with, but this is a Bitcoin proxy, so this is the reason I play it. But you can see here we've got it up to 612. Let's take a look at that 1-month chart. You can see this thing was much higher a while back, and I think that's when Bitcoin was in the 50s. So we're just hoping it gets back up to the 50s. We're actually doing pretty good on this one. I think we're just in the red a little bit in HUT. As far as HUT goes, we're up in the green now. But let's go ahead and pull back and take a look at HUT. HUT had a nice day. You can see that one was only up 6% or so. This one's up 10%. HUT is one we have some shares in our areas as well, and we are green on these. So let's take a look at the 5-day chart on HUT. And this is going to be a similar chart as Bitcoin, as MSTR. You can see those 3 days there, and we had to run up today. The 1-month chart should look similar. Not quite as bad as MSTR. You can see it's a lot more volatile too because of the lower share price. There's a lot more ups and downs to it, but it is still down for the month. All right, so let's go back and take a look at what's going on with our other stocks here. But those two were the green ones we had today. Again, NVAX. This was a scary day, a wild day. This is one of those days where you really got to have some guts, because it was not the day that you're sitting there feeling real good about some of the decisions you made. Because look how low this went today. It went all the way down to 154, and this thing was way higher than that a month ago. That's why we sold those shares today. We bought and sold shares all day. This was the pull down, and once it started coming back up, I saw it run up like this here. And then I thought, well, if it comes back down, I'm gonna start nibbling at it, just some small amounts of shares, and that's what I did. I bought it from 179.86. Let's see here, yeah, right up here at the top somewhere. And just as it started coming back down, my thought process was right here is I was going to buy it, and if it went up from here, that would have been fine from where I bought it from. But if it starts sinking, just keep adding to it, and that's what I did. And so we bought it all the way down we bought it from 179.86 all the way down to 171.74, somewhere around here. So, and it came back up, and we sold a little bit in this area here. Couple of those lots that I bought, we sold a couple of them back here. So I bought again as it dropped back down. I bought those same number back, and then at the end of the day, I was able to sell all of it that I had bought today. So actually made a little bit of money, as far as the day was concerned. But really, it was a paper loss of a large percentage, about 33% on the stocks that I had, because they were from about a month ago. But I was willing to take that loss to get those cheaper shares and get rid of those high price shares to get my cost average something a little bit more reasonable. And, so still have all the confidence in the world of NVAX. It's just that I just wanted to kind of get those shares, those high price shares, and try to get rid of them. Still got quite a bit of the high price shares. So we're not out of the woods yet as far as our cost average goes. But yeah, those were older shares. I think we bought them around 9.8 or so, and so they were pretty expensive. But going back to that, and the NVAX stock, let's take a look at something else here. I want to show you some information on that. Bear with me just 1 second here. All right, so on NVAX, let's go back to the news here. I want to show you that news. This was let's see here. This is the one I see that came out a little while ago. That really is a good read if you want to go read that. It's a Merck shouldn't matter to the NASDAQ vaccine stocks. Okay, and that's kind of what I was thinking when this was all happening today. It's kind of strange that this was actually hurting the vaccine stocks, but because there's a big difference between this pill and a vaccine. This is a treatment. Think of it as something like nano-flu versus a flu vaccine. There's a need for both. A lot of people get the flu vaccine, and hopefully they don't get the flu, and they don't have to worry about taking nano-flu. Or those type of things. That flu vaccine that's out there now. So that's what this is. I mean, it's only just a pill. I think it had some decent numbers, but nothing like a vaccine to just keep you, keep you from getting it all. But it does help as far as how bad you will get and those kind of things. It looked like that, but there's only 700 and something folks in the trial, so that was not a lot of folks. But it sounds like they're going to rush this job with the FDA, and these big pharma folks have got the ends to these FDAs and things like that. So don't be surprised if something like this doesn't get approved pretty quick. Whereas Novavax kind of struggles to deal with the FDA and some of these other regulatories because of they're new. So once they get their ends in there, then maybe they can get things done a little bit quicker. But it's a political thing. It always is. I don't care what you say. There's always some political stuff involved, and relationships that have been built in the past, and that's just how you get things done. It's nothing new. It's just business. So we're gonna hold out for that and just wait and see how things go there. Let's go back to our stocks here. All right. So we'll go back to the Novavax chart. I'll show you that one more time before we move on. It was an exciting day, as you can see here. Look at this volume here at the beginning of the day. That's another thing I want to show you. Look at the volume. 17 million shares traded, normally 4.8. So we had a lot of shares traded, and then most of it was right in here. And you can see the heavy volume really came in here at the very low point, which tells me the big boys were doing all that, and they were buying it. And as when they got it down here, they bought it all the way up to here. Pretty much went to lunch at this area, and when it pretty much did the same thing. And towards the end of the day, I think they got interested in it again because I watched the volume start to pick up there as well, and then that's when it started going back up. So not a good day. Okay, not a good day. Previous close now was 207. Okay, and we got down to 154. That is a long drop, hurtful drop. And when you're holding lots of shares of it, that's not a fun thing to watch. So it's not all fun and games on this stock, and you've got to have a certain mentality to be able to hang in there with these kind of stocks. So we've done well with it over the years. That's one of the reasons we can hang tough with it too, because of how well we've done with it. Not just this year, but years before. So we're ahead of the game, that's for sure. And so, even though it was a terrible drop today, we can afford to ride those things out. All right, Tilray down a little bit today. Let's take a look at the 5-day chart real quick, just see how we did for the week with Tilray. Looks like a down week for Tilray. That's kind of what I was thinking it was. Also, let's see, our Nikola. It was a little green earlier today, and it sold off. You can see here. It was green starting the day out, and then it sold off for whatever reason. All right, so we'll take a look at that maybe later. We don't pay a whole lot of attention to these right now. They're just beat up so bad. You see the 5-day chart. They're just beat up so bad. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to them when they get beat up so bad. It's great if they start coming back, but when they're beat up that bad, they got a long ways to go before they get my interest again. Especially before I start adding back to them. These we won't be adding to anytime soon. But it was a tough day, again, a very tough day in the market, and a tough day to be a holder of Novavax. But it's been a good one, so we held in there. Now, as far as the year goes, we are still sitting at about 36% cash. And so we're in a good spot as far as our cash levels go. We're in a good spot as far as our return on our portfolios goes. Our cash, our pocketing of cash, we've done very well in this year. Probably one of the best years we've had. So everything's going pretty good, even though we had a rough day. And again, it's all about that perspective. I've got a couple of videos on that, on the strategies and things like that you can watch where I talk about perspective. But the Dow, let's talk about that. The Dow now is up 12.15% for the year. S&P is up 16% for the year, doing the best of all three. And the NASDAQ is around 13.02% for the year to date. So that's where they're at. We're beating every one of those still, even after today's beating. And so that's about all we can do is hope we can beat those three indices. And so we're doing that. Of course, we beat the banks, we beat CDs. That's the whole goal. When you're doing this yourself, you want to make sure you're beating bare minimum the bank, which is not hard to do. You're talking about what 1.5%. I don't even know what CDs even pay. Probably not even that much. Probably 1%. But and your money's tied up for a year. So if you can't beat the banks, you probably need to give your money to some professional person and let them handle it for you. But you can do this. It's not that hard to do. You just gotta be calm. You can't panic on days like today, and it's hard not to. Believe me, it was a very tough morning. But it did came back very well. Nice comeback for Novavax. I kind of thought it would because it really made no sense. And that's what you got to watch. You got to watch similar stocks. And when both of them's going down, or like Moderna and Novavax were going down, it's nothing that has to do with the company. It has to do with that news that came out. And then you think about what is the news and how does that make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, just hang in there, and it will. People will come around. But it's always people are quick to sell, and people are quick to use this kind of information to drive stocks down and take people's money. And believe me, they took some money today. When you see Novavax shares do 17 million shares or whatever it did in a day, that's not just regular folks like you and me. That's big dogs. That's big, like I said, the big boys, and they come in there and they know how to do it, and they know how to take shares from people. And it's a sad thing because somebody's always on the losing end, and it's people that panic. Again, Warren Buffett says the stock market is where patient people take impatient people's money, and that's pretty much what it amounts to. And so you got to be the patient person and not the impatient person. Tough on days like today, but we held in there. We did some things that actually probably got us in a little bit better shape than we would have been if we just sat still. And that's the advantages of being at home, being able to watch your markets and manage things yourself on a daily basis. You don't have to do that, but sometimes on days like today, you can actually help even make them a little bit better than they would have been. Okay, so I hope you have a great weekend. Let's keep hoping that this Bitcoin thing keeps going. I know this is not a Bitcoin channel, but we do have a couple stocks that play along with Bitcoin, so it gives me something to do on the weekend as far as trading goes. I don't trade them, but I do like to watch them on the weekends. So something to think about if you hadn't done that yet. But I would get used to the stock market before I try to get into that Bitcoin, because if you think the stock market's volatile, Bitcoin's a whole different animal. So I'm finding that out. This is my first year. So, all right, well, have a great weekend, and hope you have a good week of trading next week, and hopefully we'll get some good news on Novavax and get right back up to that 200 level. All right, we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.